Lagos, Nigeria, December 2024. A young man sits behind a laptop, eyes locked on his screen, heart racing, not because he's hacking into some secret government server, but because he's about to scam the most powerful name in American politics. Not the man directly, but the system built around him. Within days, a staggering $250,000 vanishes into a crypto wallet. The money was meant to help fund the 2025 US presidential inauguration of Donald Trump, but it never got there. Instead, it was swallowed by a faceless scammer halfway across the world, armed with nothing but a keyboard and an eye for detail. His target? A wealthy donor, ready to support Trump's second coming. His weapon? A single-letter email trick that fooled even the sharpest of eyes. His mistake? Leaving behind a digital trail so reckless, even the FBI couldn't believe it. This is the story of how a Nigerian Yahoo boy hijacked a US presidential event, impersonated Trump's inner circle, and triggered an international cyber investigation, one that's still unfolding. And it all started with one lowercase letter. When people hear Trump got scammed, they imagine him clicking a shady link or wiring money to a fake prince. That's not what happened. But make no mistake, he was still a victim, just not in the way you'd expect. In scams like this, there are two victims. The first is the person who actually sends the money, thinking they're helping someone they trust. The second is the person whose identity is stolen, whose name and reputation are used as bait. And in this case, that second person was Donald Trump. The scammer didn't just forge random emails. He impersonated Trump's own inaugural committee. His fake messages looked official, professional, like they came straight from the inner circle of power. So when a well-meaning Trump supporter wired over $250,000 in cryptocurrency, it wasn't just a financial hit. It was a digital identity theft, wrapped in presidential packaging. Because here's the chilling part. If the scammer hadn't intercepted that donation, that money would have gone directly to Trump's inauguration fund. And that makes Trump a victim too. But the scammer wasn't finished yet. He had the money. Now he just had to disappear. Except, he made one fatal mistake. In Nigeria, they call them Yahoo boys, a slang term for flashy internet scammers who thrive off deception, often flaunting their stolen wealth like trophies. And in late 2024, one of them pulled off something so bold, it made headlines across 2 continents. His name? Ahiramen Igbokan. Location? Lagos. Mission? Infiltrate one of the most watched political events in the world, the inauguration of Donald J. Trump. It all started after Trump's re-election. As with any US presidential victory, a massive celebration follows, complete with speeches, fireworks, and high-powered donors lining up to support the occasion. Enter Igbokan. He didn't need to hack a system. He didn't need insider access. All he needed was timing, design skills, and an email address that looked almost perfect. While Trump's team was busy planning the inauguration, Igbokan was building a trap. One so clean, so convincing, it would fool a major donor into thinking they were communicating with the official Trump-Vance inaugural committee. But this wasn't some sloppy copy-paste job. He studied the real email structure, replicated it down to the letter, literally. One single character made the difference between a trusted political figure and a con artist from across the globe. And it worked. But as bold as it was, what came next would be even more shocking. It was one of the oldest tricks in the digital playbook, but executed with disturbing precision. Igbokan didn't try to break into a server or bypass security systems. Instead, he used a method known as a business email compromise, or BEC. It's simple, ruthless, and brutally effective. Here's how it worked. The real email domain for Trump's inauguration committee was at t47inaugural.com. Igbokan's fake version at t47inaugural.com. The only difference? A single lowercase l swapped in for a lowercase I. It's almost impossible to notice at a glance, especially in a rush. He even mimicked the name of the committee's co-chair, Steve Witkoff, down to the formatting and signature line. And then, he struck. He began sending emails to Trump supporters, posing as a high-ranking official from the inauguration team, requesting donations in USDT cryptocurrency, a dollar-pegged digital asset. And one wealthy donor fell for it, hard. Believing they were contributing to the official committee, the victim wired $250,300 in cryptocurrency straight to Egbo Khan's wallet. No red flags, no alerts, just one mistake, and the money was gone. But the scammer wasn't celebrating just yet, because what he did next would become his greatest blunder. It was the kind of payday most scammers only dream of. 250,300 USDT. That's $250,000 in cryptocurrency. Clean, fast, and nearly untraceable. Or so Egbo Khan thought. Converted to local currency in Nigeria, that was more than 400 million naira at the time. Enough to buy a mansion in Lekki, or vanish into thin air. The money landed in a digital wallet almost instantly, with no bank manager asking questions, no awkward signatures, no face-to-face transactions. It was a silent heist. And for a brief moment, it worked perfectly. But instead of covering his tracks, laundering the funds through dozens of anonymous wallets, or cashing out in smaller, untraceable chunks, he sent the money straight to his personal Binance account. It was like robbing a bank, then walking back in the next day wearing the same clothes. Because unlike shady back alley exchanges, Binance requires full KYC. Know your customer. That means submitting your government-issued ID, your real name, address, and even a selfie. So when investigators followed the trail, what did they find? The exact identity of the scammer, his login location, his IP address, everything they needed, gift-wrapped in plain sight. He hadn't just stolen a fortune. He'd left behind a digital confession. And now, the FBI was watching. Instead of hiding behind layers of fake identities, offshore wallets, and ghost accounts, Egbo Khan made the kind of mistake that would make even rookie scammers cringe. He used his real name. He used his real address. He submitted his real government ID to Binance. In doing so, authorities didn't need to launch a global manhunt. They didn't need satellites, backdoors, or high-tech surveillance. All they had to do was log in. Because while he may have known how to build a convincing email, he clearly didn't know how blockchain forensics works. The FBI quickly tracked the crypto through wallet IDs, IP logs, and transaction history. They saw that within 24 hours, the funds had been split and sent across several wallets. But a significant chunk, over $40,000 worth of USDT, was still sitting in accounts tied directly to him. That money was frozen instantly, and the US Department of Justice moved to seize it permanently. It's the kind of mistake only a loud, overconfident scammer makes, the kind who thinks digital crime is invisible, right up until it isn't. And yet, this wasn't the end of the story, because what came next was far bigger than just one man.
Once the scam was exposed, the FBI didn't waste time. They followed the digital breadcrumbs across the blockchain, tracing every movement of the stolen funds, from the donor's initial transfer to the scammer's wallet, and then across a web of connected accounts. Most of the money had already been scattered, converted, shifted, and rerouted to other crypto wallets in an attempt to hide the trail. But two things worked in law enforcement's favor. The blockchain never forgets. Egbo Khan was careless. By December 31st, just 5 days after the theft, the FBI had partnered with Binance and Tether, who both complied with immediate freeze requests. Together, they locked down 40,353 USDT across two wallets, one tied directly to Egbo Khan and another linked through transaction patterns. Then came the paperwork. A civil forfeiture case was filed in Washington, D.C. Federal prosecutors argued that the funds were obtained through wire fraud and money laundering and should be permanently seized by the U.S. government. They didn't stop there. The FBI also launched formal proceedings to track, charge, and potentially extradite the suspect. But while the feds moved in on the financial side, the internet had already taken the story and twisted it in a completely different direction. Posts started going viral. A Yahoo boy scammed Donald Trump for $250,000. Lagos boy outsmarts the US president. The internet ran wild, painting Trump as the direct victim of a Nigerian scammer, as if the former president had personally clicked a shady link and wired crypto to a stranger. But the facts? Very different. According to official court filings and statements from the FBI and the US Department of Justice, Trump didn't lose any money. The person who did was a private donor, someone trying to support Trump's inauguration by sending funds to what they believed was his official team. The scammer never contacted Trump. He never hacked Trump's accounts. He simply used Trump's name to trick someone else. Yet that small detail didn't matter online. Clickbait headlines blurred the lines, turning a serious case of digital fraud into a meme-worthy moment of presidential embarrassment. That global cybercrime is evolving fast, and some of its most dangerous players aren't hiding in the shadows, they're trending on Twitter. This wasn't just one Yahoo boy pulling a fast one. It's part of a global shift, one where scam rings have gone corporate. In recent years, Nigeria's Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, has uncovered a disturbing trend. Scam call centers, not just run by locals, but by foreign nationals using Nigeria as a base of operations. In a single Lagos raid nicknamed Operation Flush, 194 people were arrested. Not all were Nigerian. Many were from Eastern Europe and Southeast Asia. They had rented luxury apartments, set up full-fledged scam offices, hired staff, and ran international fraud schemes with chilling efficiency. And the irony? Some weren't just scamming from Nigeria. They were in other countries, pretending to be Nigerians to carry out their scams. In one exposed case, a scam call center in the Philippines was caught using Nigerian phone numbers and addresses. A hidden camera recording even captured a worker saying, "We're based in Abuja, capital of Nigeria." All of this because a certain type of scammer made the Yahoo Boy label loud and visible, flaunting stolen wealth, bragging online, flashing watches, cars, and stacks of cash like trophies. And that noise drew attention. It's no longer just about emails from princes or fake inheritances. It's about impersonation at a political level, with global consequences. But what happened to Egbukan wasn't just about money. It was about what happens when boldness crosses into stupidity. In the end, it wasn't just $250,000 that disappeared. It was trust. Trust in digital security. Trust in political fundraising. And for some, trust in an entire country's image. A Hireman Egbukan didn't just impersonate a man. He hijacked a moment, one of the most powerful stages in American politics, and turned it into a personal jackpot, all with a fake email and a wallet address. But the real damage wasn't in the money stolen. It was in the spotlight it created, shining directly on Nigeria's darkest digital corners and giving scammers the microphone they didn't deserve. Because when cybercrime becomes bold, when criminals flaunt stolen money like it's earned, when national pride gets buried under viral headlines and clickbait claims, everyone loses. Because sometimes the biggest financial traps aren't built with code or force. They're built with illusion. And once you fall for it, you're left broke, humiliated, and blaming yourself.